Hey guys! We're here for reading comparing round 2 and I am here with you.
Hey guys!
Whoa.
We're here for...
I did not anticipate to see myself or hear myself. Okay, let's start again. So basically I have a few tips that I'm here to offer you guys for reading comparing, and that's because I know that a lot of you are doing reading comparing right now and over the next couple of months. So I want to make sure that you guys are prepared, and I have a few questions that some of my mailing list subscribers have sent through, so I'm going to answer those and intersperse my tips with a few answers with whatever questions you've got during this live stream. Sorry, I feel like my brain isn't really working right now, and I don't know, it could just be a really long day, could be food coma from dinner, I don't know, but yeah, hey guys, hey Aisha, lovely to see you here. I can see a few of you here, so thanks for being here. I'm going to start off now with answering questions from the mailing list. So if you've got any questions as I'm talking, then please just leave it in the comment section or the live section, and I'll answer them as I go. So one of the questions that was sent through was from Janelle, and she asked, any chance on covering Bombshells and Penelope Egg anytime soon? So I actually don't have a video coming up for those two texts, I don't believe, anytime soon, unfortunately. But if you head to my website, vcstudyguides.com, under the blog section, you'll see that one of my amazing tutors, Anna, has written up a whole study guide there for you. So it covers themes, characters, similarities and differences, and she really goes into a lot of detail, and I think it's really quite something that you should read if you haven't already. So you can actually download the PDF of it as well, so you guys can save it, and that's the case with any of our guides that we write up in our blogs. So yeah. Okay. Hi Alice, nice to see you. Okay, cool. So the next question is from Katrina, and Katrina wants to know if there's an example piece on the text Ransom and Invictus, as she's struggling heaps. Thanks for sending through your question, Katrina. So with Ransom and Invictus, I feel like this has been a common theme with reading comparing, and I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. Like, it's really hard to find good resources for comparative text, and it's just kind of, not only is it hard to find like resources, study guides and stuff, but then if you're trying to find essays, that's even harder to find, because this comparative text section has it's only the second year, so you're only going to find 1 year's worth of essays, and even then, like, there's not really much out there. So I am going to guide you to my website again, to the blogs, because we have covered Ransom and Invictus, and actually, while we're on the topic, I might as well tell you guys now, I'm so excited because we've been spending the last month or so creating essay topics for you guys. So while I don't have an example piece for you, what I do have are essay prompts. So I hope that still somehow helps you in your studies. We're trying really hard to make as many resources as fast as possible for you guys. So I hope that you can see my dedication and see that I am trying for you guys. But with these prompts, I'll tell you a little bit about them. We tried to create at least 15 prompts for every text. That's our plan anyway. So we started off with a few. I've jotted them down. So if you are studying any of these, Rear Window, I Am Malala, and Made in Dagenham, Invictus and Ransom, The Crucible and Year of Wonders, then all of those texts now have 15 or more original Lisa study guides, newly created content, newly created essay prompts for you guys. So just head to the website, or you can go down in the description box below because I've linked them all there for you. Along with those prompts, you can actually download the PDF versions. So you can always have it on your computer, or you can print it out, and you can always kind of mark them off as you go or tick them off. So yeah, that's what we've been working on. So I hope that helps you, Katrina, and anybody else out there who's studying these texts. What we tried really hard to do with all of these essay prompts is mimic the VCA essay prompts. So VCA, or the body that holds our exams, they like essay prompts to be written in a certain way, and so we tried really hard to make sure that we are in line with what they're doing, so that your expectations, sorry, let me refresh that sentence. You know what to expect through practicing with our prompts. So that actually leads me into my general topic today, and that is what these essay prompts generally look like and what you can expect. And once you see a certain prompt that's written a certain way, how should you deal with it? So, hello everyone. I'll come back to in a second. I'll just say hi to everyone. So, hey Amy. Yes, Amy, I do read your comments. Alice says, our EAL teacher showed us a lot of the videos in class. They're all very clear and helpful. Thank you so much for your videos. Oh, thank you so much for watching them. And thank you to your teacher for showing my videos in class. I really appreciate it. You know what, guys? I find that this is so awkward, but I have had friends who've had friends who hear about me and they're like, oh yeah, we used to watch her when we were in VCE. And when I hear that, I'm just like, oh, they're talking about me. They know what I do, they know my name. So yeah, I don't know, that's just something random that I thought I would share with you guys. Okay, so I am going to move straight into the first. I'm going to move straight into my first tip. So my first tip is, you're seeing me looking at the screen because I just want to make sure that this live stream is going and that everything is okay. I'll just give it 1 second. I'm just reloading my page, making sure that everything is okay. Hi, Jill. Yes, Rear Window represent. I do enjoy that one. It's a great film. Okay, so I can see that my live stream is working. So my first tip is for reading and comparing prompts. What VCA has especially said in their examination report is that they focused on making sure that they use the word compare in every single prompt. So what this means for you guys is, obviously it's reiterating the fact that it's comparing two texts, right? So they obviously want to avoid any odd occasions where the student might think it's another text response and only focus on one text, for example. But I think more importantly, when you see the word compare, it's important that you guys look beyond the surface and that it's not just pointing out the similarities and the differences, because that's not what reading comparing is about. That's not what comparative text is about. Comparative text is when you put a pair of texts next to each other, and you use both of them as guidance for talking about a bigger theme or a bigger idea that they both touch upon, and you explore the ways in which they explore the idea, rather than just going, here is an idea, here is how text A does it, here is how text B does it, and here are some examples. It's more about, okay, so in 1984 and Stasi land, if we're talking about surveillance, yes, Susanna, I see your question about surveillance, and about 1984 and Stasi land, but you know, rather than just saying, oh, 1984 uses telescreens to survey people, or Stasi land uses the Stasi, talk about the ramifications of the surveillance. Talk about how the surveillance impacts psychologically on the humans, or talk about how the surveillance is executed by these authoritarian parties. Because if you can go into that kind of deeper realm of understanding that surveillance is not literally like, okay, it's an object, so let's just point out the different areas in which these two texts use surveillance, but more understanding that bigger picture of what surveillance means in both of the dictatorships, then that's a go. So that's my first tip. I hope that's helpful. Please let me know that if it is, and please let me know if you've got any questions. Okay. Amy asks, wow, Amy, you're full of compliments. Thank you so much. She says, how are you so talented? I'm great at maths. I'm trying to accelerate in class for English too. You know, if you guys have followed me for a while, you know that I always thought that I was a math student, a very strong math student, but that kind of changed later on. And, you know, I think for me, like, I don't know if it's talent, but I think it's just doing this for so long. Like, by next year, I'll actually come to 10 years teaching English. So, yeah, I'm like ancient now compared to you guys. But also, I do it a lot, and I'm always making sure that I stay up to date and always making sure that I improve my skills, testing new things with my students. So that's how I kind of feel like I know what works or what doesn't work, or how to explain things in certain ways. So yeah, but thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Okay. So don't forget, if you've got any more questions, let me know. Nobody's writing any questions right now, so I'm just going to keep going to my next one. So my second tip for you guys would be quotes from one or more of the texts that you'll find in your essay prompt. So if you'll bear with me for a second, what I'll do is I'm actually going to load one of our practice prompts that we've just created. And I'm going to read it out loud for you guys because I can't actually show you during a live stream, which is so awkward. Sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I should just film this and then be able to like overlay the information for you guys. But I think it's nice to be able to interact with you at least once a month. Okay, what did I say I was doing? Oh, yeah. So forgetful. Okay, so let's just say I will use The Crucible and Year of Wonders. So in this particular prompt, we've got, this is prompt number 8. How little we know, I thought, of the people we live amongst. Brackets, Year of Wonders. New sentence. Compare what the two texts say about community and one sense of reality. So this is one type of essay topic that you might get. Another example where you might have both quotes, I'm going to use for Ransom and Invictus. So, quote, in a world that is also subject to chance, close quote, bracket Ransom, new sentence, under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Close quote, bracket Invictus, new sentence, compare how chance influences lives and societies in these texts. So as you can see here, what we've got are quotes that are embedded within the essay topic itself. So what do we do in this scenario? If you've watched my previous videos in the past, you probably have an understanding of what I'm going to say next. But you want to ensure that you do deal with the you do deal with the quote. Don't just sit back and only look at the last part where it says, compare how chance influences lives and societies in these texts, and ignore the quotes themselves. The quotes essentially form a major part of the entire essay topic, so it's important that you address it in some way. My personal favorite way of doing that is to ensure that within one of the body paragraphs, I do actually delve into the quote itself, and I do try to integrate it into my explanation and my analysis of these two texts. So what do I mean by that? Rather than just, throwing it into a sentence where you're integrating it seamlessly and then just moving on to the next quote or analyzing something else, what you want to do is try to really understand what these quotes are saying. So you want to try to understand who said it and when it was said and why it was said. If you can try to figure out those three things, it gives you a really good starting point as to what you should maybe talk about in your body paragraphs. Now, if you don't know those three things, it's okay. If you've only got two of them or even just one of them, it's still a starting point. And even if you have literally no idea, like if I'm looking at this right now in a world that is also subject to chance, I have no idea who says that. I have no idea when it was said or in which context. But what I can at least do is understand that the main theme here that it's touching on is chance, and basically connecting that to Ransom itself. It's talking about fate versus free will, like how much of what we do is based on chance, and how much do the gods actually impact what we do, or is it very much so something that is innate and something that's born from within us that makes us do certain things? Do you know what I mean? So if you latch onto a theme, if possible, I think that's just going to open the flood doors for you, and you're going to have so much to talk about. But that's one thing that I would heavily encourage you guys to do. Okay? Okay. So, hey Nancy, it's great to see you again. Nancy asks, let's say there's a particular essay topic that requires comparisons between a film and a novel. What are the primary components that need to be included in the essay? So, I hope I'm not interpreting your question wrong, because I feel like there could be two types of answers to it, but so I'll just go through both of them. Regardless of if you're comparing two novels or a film and a novel, it's not really going to matter. It's not going to influence exactly what's going to be involved in your essay. At the very end of the day, if we're looking at it from top level, it's always going to be focused on ideas. It's always going to be focused on your understanding and your interpretation of what these two texts are exploring, right? So when it starts to actually differ with film and novel would be the actual evidence themselves, in my opinion. So in a novel, you can start talking about symbols. You can talk about like narration perspective. Perhaps you could talk about how it's written in short story format, or how it's broken up into parts. If it's a play, you could even talk about how there are stage directions. But with a film, they've obviously got different things you could talk about. Film techniques such as camera angles, lighting, costume, music. So I feel like that's when it would really only make a difference. But I feel like, again, at the end of the day, it's not going to make any major changes to how you actually approach your essay itself. So primary components still include: what are the major ideas? What is the author saying about it? How do you understand it? What's your interpretation of it? So as teachers, as examiners, I believe that they're looking for somebody who has something interesting that's worth their reading time. Like, if you say something that nobody else has said and you get them thinking, oh, that's a really good point, that's your goal. That's what you want to do. Okay. Jill asks, this is a funny one. I feel like a lot of you are like this as well, so I hope this is relevant for many of you. How do I understand the entirety of Year of Wonders without reading it? Lol. I find it incredibly boring to digest. So, you already know my answer, right? But I'm going to give you a few handy pointers that I think will help. So, if you want to understand something in its entirety, you're not going to be able to do it if you don't read the text. That's as simple as it gets. You're not going to have, there is no cheat sheet in the world, no study guide, no tutor, no teacher, no me, nothing that's going to be able to give you the knowledge that you need to know to write on this particular book very well if you haven't read it. It's just not possible. Like, you need to absorb it. And you need to absorb every single bit of it if possible. So I would say that if you do find it boring to digest, there are certain things you can do. One, and I learned this from one of my students who I'm incredibly grateful for her bringing this up because I think it's just brilliant. If you find it hard to read, or you don't enjoy reading, get an audiobook. What you can do with the audiobook is hopefully listen to it and find it a lot more engaging than the actual reading component itself. If you struggle to follow along with an audiobook, pair it with the reading. So sit down somewhere, dedicate 20 minutes. 20 minutes is nothing. I can bet that so many of you will spend 20 minutes scrolling through Instagram, looking at nothing of value to you, right? So 20 minutes is a snippet of your day, and sit down with your book, follow it through, listen to the audio tape, right? That will actually compound the knowledge really well for you and just really help it sink in, because not only are you reading, so using your sight, but you're also using your auditory. So you're absorbing it through your ears as well. So it's kind of like a double whammy both ways, and you're kind of almost doing twice the work in the same amount of time, which is kind of cool. So I really like that idea. Other things you can do if you find it hard to digest: snippets, what I mentioned before, 20 minutes. Can't do that? 15. Can't even do that? Do 10. But at least you can do 10, because I know for sure that you can just sit there mindlessly scrolling through your phone, not doing anything productive. So why not actually do something that's going to help you in the long run, right? Is there anything else I would say? The last thing I would say for you, Jill, is try to latch onto something that you do find interesting. I can see how Year of Wonders can be boring in some aspects. Like, it is an older book, not when it was written, but it is set in a time that was very, very long ago. And so, a lot of the things that are written might not be relevant to you now, and that's why you just don't find it very interesting. Like there's a lot of religious talk in there. There's a lot of, I guess, like social prejudice and like perspectives that we don't really have these days. So I can understand why it's hard to tap into, but are there certain things that do interest you? So for me, from what I recall, is, you know, I felt a lot of empathy for the protagonist. Like she basically lost her entire family, and I felt really sad for her, and I just wanted to know what happened to her in the end and how she made through it all. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I am going to answer another question. You guys are asking great questions today. So Nancy says, what's the best way to deconstruct an essay topic? I feel like one of the main priorities of writing essays is to understand the topic to a degree, and then you generate ideas. This is so true. You have to actually understand the essay topic first. I don't think I will necessarily go through this in a lot of detail today, but I would say that, of course, keywords are really important for you to understand, but one really good tip I have for you is rephrase the essay topic in a way that you understand it. So if your essay topic is really long, or you just like you're trying to figure out how you understand it, you know, put your essay topic aside and kind of verbally voice it out loud, say how you interpret the prompt. Because I feel like that way you can actually really understand, oh, do I understand it or not? Because if you're able to do it, you probably got it. But if you can't do it and you're struggling, or you don't encompass like some of the key words, for example, then there might be like a mismatch there. If you guys don't know, I recently did release my How to Write a Killer Essay ebook. So this is just a little bit of shameless promotion, but it's $9.95. It's probably down in the description box below, and that's it there in the corner. So yeah, like I just feel like it's something that's really hard to go into detail, or just like kind of go over in a video, but this is it. I'll just show you quickly. This is what it looks like on the inside. And it basically tells you how to deconstruct an essay topic, how to think about it before you actually start writing. And then when you start writing, some tips on the actual essay itself, what you should be looking at, and what is on the VCA criteria that you need to satisfy. So yeah. Okay, so Jill says, she was the one who asked about the audiobook. She says, I tried the audiobook and then I fell asleep, unfortunately. I was covered in doonas during it. So thanks for those tips. So yeah, like no problems at all for the tips. But you know, if you're falling asleep, then you just have to put yourself in a position where you're not going to, you know, like sometimes I try to work in bed, but then like in bed, you're kind of like super comfy and you kind of just like, slowly like dozing off. So don't, you know, try to make yourself a little bit less comfortable. Maybe go and sit on the couch, but not have blankets over you, or just, you know, wear a lot of clothes that will keep you warm, but, you know, not too warm that you will just fall asleep. So it's finding the balance. Okay. I'm going to go through my third point, my third tip for you guys. So it's a statement. Okay. Sorry for the delay. Computer's usually really slow when it's got all programs running on it, especially when there are live streams. Yeah. Okay. So, what these essay topics like? Oh, I think I might have already covered my third tip earlier, somehow just while I was talking, or maybe when I was asking one of your questions. Hi, Paul. Hey, Christian. Hey, Crystal. Okay. Kind of covered my third tip earlier. So, I'm just going to come up with a new tip for you guys. But now I have to think on the spot. So, give me a moment while I have a read at more comments, see if there are any more questions you guys have. As in the background, I'm trying to figure out one more tip that's going to be valuable for you guys. Okay? Ooh. I think I know what my other tip is going to be. Okay, let me answer the questions first. Then I'll do my final tip, and then we'll call it a day. Okay? Okay, so you guys have great questions. Unfortunately, some of them are not as relevant, so I'm not going to cover them. As you know, I try to keep it within like whatever topic we're doing for this session. Ipio says, I'm having trouble finishing plans efficiently for both comparative and text response. Any advice? I'm more than anything, I struggle to relate my ideas directly to the prompt. Yeah. I think what I said before about rephrasing what the prompt is asking you in your own words can be helpful. And if you are struggling for your ideas to relate directly to the prompt, perhaps a visual diagram would be really helpful for you, because if you're actually drawing out how those ideas relate to your essay topic, you can actually see for yourself whether or not it is a good link. Because you can't, I guess if you're just writing things down as a plan in chronological order, just like down a page, sometimes you can kind of trick yourself, or your brain can trick yourself into thinking that it is related when it isn't. So I personally find that doing mind maps where I can visually see how everything fits together and whether or not each one of my ideas actually flows from one another is something that can be super handy. So give that a shot. Let me know if it works, and if it doesn't, let me know why and ask me again, and I'll see what else I can do for you. Okay. So Christian says, less than 100 days until exams. Should I be stressed? Yes, you should be stressed. No, I am kidding. What? You can't let someone else tell you if you should be stressed or not. It's just an internal thing. You're either going to feel stressed or not, right? Easy as that. Okay, my last tip for you guys is, last time we did a live stream, I spoke about different essay structures and which essay structure I would recommend for you guys. I wanted to give you a bonus tip for that one. So with the 3 essay structures, I basically suggested that you should do integrated. Integrated is essentially where you compare both texts in every single body paragraph. Why do I suggest that? All the VCE examples are along those lines. If you look at the examiner's report, it follows through with like the fact that that's the structure that examiners seem to prefer. And I personally believe that, an essay is prime real estate for you to show off your skills, right? So you would rather use every inch of that space covering a comparative analysis rather than just like one paragraph later on. So what I would recommend you is in each body paragraph, when you're doing your comparative, some people, what they do is even within the paragraph, they'll start off with text A and they'll talk about that, and then they'll go, on the other hand, text B. So essentially the paragraph is like a sandwich, right? You've got the toast on top, which is text 1, the toast on bottom, which is text 2, and maybe a slice of cheese in between. And that's like the comparison part where you say, on the other hand, in text B, blah, blah, blah. So what I would say though is if you can keep integrating even more. So you can actually just make sure that you compare the entire time. So while you're explaining one example or one idea, whatever, use both of the texts to back you up throughout your entire thing. So then it becomes just like a cheesy toast. Cheese throughout the toast. I don't even know. Can you guys tell me? But yes, that's how I would explain it. So if you guys can do that, which is even trickier, but that's kind of like the end goal. If you could do that, then do it. Obviously, if it's too hard and like you're even struggling to be able to compare them in the first place and you just find that you're getting overwhelmed with it, don't do that structure if it doesn't suit you. I would much rather you do a structure that you feel comfortable with and that you can really tackle and do well than trying to do a structure that someone else is telling you, oh, this is going to get you an A+, because it's not going to get you an A+ if you can't execute it well. So there are particular essay structures that maybe, I guess, have more advantage than others, but at the end of the day, you want to do what suits you. Okay, cool. So, I think we might leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciated you guys being here. I hope that my answers have been helpful for you. So, yeah, I will see you guys next time. All the links that I've talked about today will be in the description down below, and that's pretty much it. Okay? It was a pretty abrupt ending, wasn't it? But yes, I think that will be all for today. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Potterhead Limelight, for being here. I wish you guys all the best if you have got any SACs coming up really soon. But let's touch base in a month. Subscribe to my mailing list if you want to keep updated and if you want to get your questions in early, because I'll make sure I answer them. And other than that, did I actually make sure I answered all the questions? Yes. To Camaria, I'm sorry I didn't answer your question about like a house on fire. Unfortunately, we're not doing text response today, but I hope in the future that I will be able to help you. So that's it. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Alice. Hope you all have a lovely day. Bye. Am I gonna go eat now? Should I eat more? I don't know. I already had dinner, but now I'm kind of snacky.